Dressel. I channel the universal light beings, and tonight is a session where I'm channeling Albayon, who's from Arcturus, Brysentia, who's from Pleiades, and Crystallia, who is from the Omniverse. I was just chatting with Alexander, who assists me with a lot of things, and I don't know what happened to the email. I thought I set it up last night. I thought I sent it this morning. I thought I just now sent it, and I have a glitch with the email. So I may be talking to nobody here for a while because it's just because people don't know that, oh, tonight's the night. But I'm just going to chat for a couple of minutes and see if people will come in here. For those of you that are listening to this on the replay, welcome. I'm always glad to have you. I tend to I've got two different websites. Crystalline Transformations is what's associated with the Universal Light Beings, or the ULBs, and I channel them about every other Wednesday, more or less. And tonight's that night. So if you don't get an email from me about 2 weeks from now, chances are I'll be having another one. And then Goddess of Creation was my original website. And in fact, April 1st is going to be like my 22nd, 23rd anniversary that I have been channeling the Goddess of Creation and having a teleconference 2 times a month. It's the first and third Mondays of the month. So that'll be coming up next Monday. And so anyway, as I've been in this circuit, I've been doing this stuff for a very, very long time, and the energies keep changing, and we all keep growing, and we all keep ascending. So we're in a very, very special time in the Earth's ascension. If you look back over the millions of years that the Earth has been around, it has ascended, and it has been in this high frequency multiple different times. But this one, I've been told from a lot of the universal beings, this time it's different. This time is about a permanent ascension, that whatever it is that would pull the Earth down in the past has been removed. The low vibrational energies have been removed, and all that's left are what we call the minions. And it's the residual people that are stuck in that old energy. So anyway, the other thing that is really important about this ascension process, and this kind of goes along with explaining it, is the fact that we have gone from such very low vibration, very low density energy, and from something where we've been lied to, where, there was so much mind control, to go from that into ascended high vibrational energy. That dramatic of a change is another reason why this is it's so important. And of course, this is all going into everyone's soul energy. It's going into the cosmic energy. It's going into the earth energy. So what's happening, it's not just about me and you and whatever you're doing. This is about Earth as a whole, and it's about our connection to the universe and everything else that goes with it. So pretty big deal, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm seeing people said they didn't get the email. I have no idea. I don't know what's wrong. So I apologize that you didn't get the email. I did set this all up last night, and it should have gone out this morning, first thing. You did get it. Someone did get it. Okay. Anyway, it was just an email, just kind of talking about what's going on and reminding you that that this is here. As for the crystalline transformations, we did the group thing about 2 weeks ago, and then I channeled Albayon for a little mini that was about 15 minutes or so, that was talking about, it was right after Greenland had gotten its independence, and it was talking about Greenland. It was talking about the changes in Europe and Canada. And basically, one of the things that keeps coming to me is this sense, or this energy of, how do we want to call it? That much of what's been going on in the United States has been about showing the world this, the negativity, the deceit, that type of stuff that's been happening. Well, it's not just happening here, it's happening all over the world. So now that this is coming out to people, one of the next phases is that it's going to be exposed in other parts of the world. That's not to say they haven't already been cleaning things up, because they have. It's not like they're starting from scratch. They're starting from wherever they are in their process. But this is one of the reasons why you're going to hear a lot of this. So that mini is, it's in, all the usual places, Rumble, Facebook, YouTube, and you can go look at that if you'd like. And then I did a short yesterday about intuition, and just laughing because I've been channeling, I've been in this energy for a very, very, very long time. And still, I sometimes don't listen to my intuition. I'll just kind of talk myself out of an intuitive hit that I may get. And so that's just kind of funny. But anyway, it's a short, and you'll find that on YouTube. I don't think I ever shared that on any of the other things. Okay, so that's where all that is coming from. And the other thing to me to be aware of is, even though I'm not an astrologist, and even though I couldn't like name a bunch of names about things, I do feel as if there are such massive and different changes that are going on in the universe, like eclipses, alignments with planets. This is what I've heard and read from other people. And so to me, if things are happening out in the universe that are having an impact on us that haven't happened, some of these in hundreds of years, some of these in 50 years, 40 years, a long time, then everything is showing you that this is a time for change, and this is a time that we're going to move to the next level. So it's very, very exciting, in my opinion. And retrograde season, I see someone put there. So, yep, I guess that's going to be very much a part of it. Okay, so Diane said she just now got the email. So whatever I did differently this last time must have caused the email to go out. So again, apologies that you didn't get it earlier in the day so you could plan. Probably those that are here right now are all the ones that are planning on it every couple of weeks and still follow it that way. I am so hot, and I'm looking to see if I have my remote for my fan, which I do not. So anyway, maybe I'll cool off once the energy starts going. Eclipse season too. I said that word today, eclipse season. And I thought, well, wait a second. They told me that was it like 18 months ago. Remember in the fall of 23, I think it was eclipse season. So maybe these things just come around and are cyclic, and they just come up at different times. But all these things are what are supporting and nudging humanity into making these changes. Okay, so I know I've been talking for a while. I was waiting for people to get in here. I think I'll just jump in because y'all are here to, wow, 15 after. So I'm really late getting started. I apologize. Greetings. It is I, Albayon. I come to you at this time with love, light, and energy. I come to you to speak about things that people are asking about. I come to you to speak about the transformations that are taking place. Sorry, we're downloading into Shelley. As you know, when she pauses like that, there's just too much information and she has to sort it out. I wanted to talk to you first this evening because there's been a great deal of information that is being spoken about for those that the astronauts that were on the what was it? It wasn't called a spaceship, that were on that thing that was circling the Earth. See, Shelley's still getting into the energy. And then also underneath the pyramids, there's been, people are talking about discoveries about remote viewing, and now they're able to look with these sonar things, a space station. There you go. They're able to look with information. And so people are saying what's real, what's wrong, how does that work, what is fake, what is not fake. And so I wanted to take this opportunity to come in and talk about those things, and then whatever else comes up. If you do want to ask a question, please feel free to post it in here, and then Alexander will keep up with that. Okay, so let me begin by talking about space and talking about the space station, as they call it. All of you know that there are satellites that are out, that are circumventing the planet. You have that which is the gravitational pull that holds you onto the Earth, and then you go outside of that. You literally go through a barrier, and then you no longer have that gravitational pull. And it is that space that there is still another space. You might call it like the aura, or you might call it just another part of what is the planet. And that space is like an in-between. This does connect into the universe, but it is not the universe in and of itself. There is that space, and then there's another space that is linking into the other planets that are out within the universe, or maybe even just talking about the galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy. So when we talk about your satellites, everyone is aware of how that's how you send communication. You do your towers that you use for your cell phone, your computers, your streaming, all of these different forms of communication that you're using right now is in that space that is outside the gravitational pull, but still close into your planet. So when we talk about the space station, that's the place in which it is. That's the place in which it is circumventing the Earth. And the people that they were just rescued, it was big in the news, and this is what brought it up to Shelley's attention. She's like, everyone's saying, oh, that was also fake. If they're going 14,000 miles an hour, how could they dock? And anyway, so yes, it is true that the space station is like a satellite, you could say. It is something that is made to be within that space. It is outside of the gravitational pull, and it does go where they program it to go. When people were showing an image that showed the space station and then them coming into dock, it was like the space station was still and they were coming into dock. And the question that prompted Shelley to think about it was the individual saying, yeah, 14,000 miles an hour, and yet one is staying still and one is coming in. That doesn't make any sense. So we've talked in other times about quantum physics and quantum energy, which is more than just the type of physics and the type of duality or the type of energy that you're accustomed to on the Earth plane. So when you're in quantum, when you're in quantum physics and when you're in quantum energy, you don't have that same perception of push and pull. There is a sense of a slowing down as someone is coming into docking, but they're changing and they're adjusting their alignment so that they can connect with one another and then, go forward to either put the people on, take the people off, whatever it is they are doing. There are times when they do repairs on some of the satellites that are out in this area. And these satellites, some of them have been circulating for a very, very long time. Others of them are new, and those that are new have an innate ability to be able to repair themselves, or they can be repaired from the computers on Earth. But some of the older ones that are still needed or still used are repaired by those that are on the space station. So some of the pictures that they've shown is like, oh, it looks like the moon's right there, the Earth's right there, this is the planet over here. And so, yes, they do have that perception of seeing these other planets. But when you have a different sense of distance when you're on the Earth, and when you're standing where you are looking at point A, point B over there, you have that feeling of, oh, this is a difference of 50 yards, 100 yards, a mile, whatever that may be. So when you don't have anything in that's a landmark like that, the sense of what you're looking at, it could be 1,000 miles away, it could be 2,000 miles away. And again, talking about the quantum physics, the way that you get there is not the same as what it would be on Earth. One of the biggest problems has been that people are trying to understand things through Earth consciousness and not through universal consciousness. That's what makes the difference there. So then what's coming in Shelley's mind, and some of you all are thinking, is what about all those things that staged landing on the moon back in the 60s and 70s? That was not authentic. That had a lot, when I'm looking at that and what they were trying to do, it was not the way. There was a sense, it's hard to say. When I'm looking into that, maybe one time they did get to the moon and maybe other times it was staged. I do feel as if there is a potential that one time it did actually land on the moon. And when it landed there, they suddenly saw all these other space stations that were already there. They saw these other environments or these other buildings and these other things that were already there. So the true way in which people move throughout a universe, and not just this universe, are what you call the wormholes, or what you call the portals, or what you call the black hole. It could be. Now, black holes, there are slight differences in what those three things are. And some of it just may seem like semantics, but some of the black holes, you have to be very, very careful, and you really have to know what you're doing. So we've talked about that gravitational pull of the Earth, and that layer that kept everything into the Earth, and then the space outside of it. So when you are talking about these portals that go from one to the other, you enter that portal, and then you go through the portal, and you're on the moon, you're on another planet, you're on wherever that may be. And this is what has existed for a very, very, very long time. We don't know. It just popped into Shelley's mind. And I think I have to be careful, just because, we're back here on YouTube and all. But many people heard about it begins with an S and then a space, and then there was a program that came after that. You can put that together. And that is something that was legitimate, that was started after what you would call your World War II. And that's when they began having people go in and out of the planet. And they would go through those portals. And some of those portals are on your planet. And that is the way that in the future, people are going to be moving from planet to planet and experiencing different things in your universe. The problem with that was, and the reason that they kept it all a secret, was because they were using it for nefarious reasons. They didn't want people to know about it, because then they'd be saying, oh, what's this about? What are you doing here? Because a great deal of that was when the nefarious ones were in charge. And so many of the people that would go into that were actually slaves. They would steal people from here. They would be slaves out there. They would be slaves on these ships. And of course, that's something that they wanted to keep hidden. So this is one of the big reasons why it is that they kept it all a secret. But if you look at what was going on with that, and if you have followed some of the people that have talked about that, that is much more authentic, because they would go through a portal, and then they would be docking inside one of those stations on the moon, rather than landing on the surface and trying to figure out their way around the moon. They would go from a docking station here to a docking station there. And there were people on Mars, Venus. There are so many planets, way more planets than what you're aware of from what you can see with your consciousness and see with the eyes of being human. So this is a great deal of the information that is going to be coming out. But because they just had that about the space station and about the astronauts, and so many people saying that it was fake, my take on it is that it was not faked. And that it was authentic, and they were still sending things up there with food, and they were stocked with food for about a year or so, but it felt like they were sending up, what do you call those things, robotic devices that were also bringing food to them, because that was another criticism that people had. They stayed 9 months longer. Who had the food? They didn't plan on that. Well, they always plan on it being excessively longer than what they anticipate, but I still have a sense that at least once there was food that was given to them, and it was brought up by a robotic type mechanism. The other thing that you might want to wonder about is these people did see other ships such as us that were also in that space. We were told, and we honored the request, that we basically leave them alone. So it's not like we stopped there for coffee one day and, hey, what's going on? And it wasn't like that at all. We were aware of them. They knew that there were other ships out here. Whether or not they knew the full ramification of everything, I have no way of knowing. I don't know, but I feel as if anybody that's put in that position is well aware of that there's more than just one planet, and there's more than just humanity. So whether they saw it with their own eyes, they knew it with their consciousness, or it was just something brand new to them, I can't say. But I did want to clear that up, and I did want to speak about that. And also a reminder that this is all going to be coming out as public knowledge. It is not by any means a high priority, But once they start saying, well, there actually is life out in the universe, and here's some of the beings that are out in the universe, and here's who's been coming in to help us. Once they start doing that, then they will also start saying, well, actually, yes, we have been communicating with them. Yes, we have been sending this over there. Yes, we have been doing this. So humanity will hear about a lot of these things in hindsight. And it will also come out at the time that your truth will be known about your history. As you know, it's very fascinating. Some of the other planets do this also, but one of the things that Earth does is they change history constantly. Whoever it is that is in charge puts their narrative in there, and then they write everything, and it's like they go back and rewrite everything so that the people are in a train of thought or a train of understanding, which is what they want the people to have. This happened in this incarnation, meaning this ascension process. It happened back during Atlantis. It happened one time in it wasn't Lemuria was 100% authentic. That which was called Avalon was almost 100% authentic, but there have been other experiences. There was a huge one over in what you call Asia, from what you call China and Korea and Japan and all those islands. There was a massive civilization that lived there that was probably before the time of Atlantis. And that one was also one similar to this. That's where the dragons first made themselves known, and the dragon families that they still have in play today. So that was a time that they said, this is what we want humanity to be aware of. And then after a while, they changed it up. Oh no, we're talking 100 years, 200 years. Oh no, actually this is what we want, because different people were in charge, and they then changed what they wanted people to hear. So this is just a bit about what's going to be coming out, and it's very important for everybody to stay in a balanced place, for you to be always questioning. And if you hear something, if you read something, if you look at something, then literally ask yourself, is this legit or is this not legit? And you should be able to find out what those answers are. Okay, when I said that, that just came up to what someone was asking Shelley about. Over the UK, there was that symbol. I don't know if if anyone has a copy of it, but it looked round, and it looked, someone was saying, oh, is that a portal opening up? And I remember Shelley said, no, it's definitely not a portal. But then there were other articles that were saying it was what was left from the exhaust of a rocket being launched that was from SpaceX. And I say to that, no, it was not. To me, when I'm looking at that, if I'm tapping into the same thing that all of you all were looking at, sorry, Southern term, all y'all, that all of y'all were looking at, it was a hologram, and it was put there with the intention of, it had some energy associated with it, and it was put there with the intention of awakening people, causing people to question, causing people to know what's going on. And then someone had to come up with an explanation. So they said, oh, it's the exhaust of a SpaceX rocket that was launched over there, and that's what it leaves behind. Well, then the question I have for you, if it were the truth, why haven't you ever seen that before? There have been many different SpaceX rockets launched, and yet you did not see that symbol or something that looked like that. That plus me tapping into the energy are the main reasons why. My take on it is that it was a hologram that was projected, and it was done so with the intention of causing communication or people to talk about things. And in one way, you could even say it was done as a means of awakening people. So that was another big part of it. I said I was going to talk about the pyramids, but I think I'm going to let Brysentia talk about that, because that's more part of Gaia, and she's telling me that she wants to go into that in more detail. So let me see if there's other stuff along this line that we've been seeing. The disclosure is coming out, as you are all well aware. There continues to be a divide between humanity. There's still a lot of people that, speaking of the United States, There's still a lot of people that really dislike the president, and a lot of people that are saying, now we understand, now we get it. So more and more, well, just the fact that he won by such a landslide, there was already a lot of people, the majority, vast majority of people had already known that there were problems and that things were not right. And so everything they've done, they've been very authentic, they've been very upfront, they have been very open in their communication. And so what we're seeing is that is continuing to expand. And the more that they talk about things, it's like when you have that teacher that says, yes, I encourage you to talk. Yes, I encourage you to participate in class. And when the kids do, they get rewarded. So the more that they're talking about things, the more that people respond to them, the more that it grows and grows. But what you still see is a big divide, between those that dislike and those that like. And some of that is just going to take time for it to go away. But one thing that I did want to say, the most recent thing, this just popped up. They were talking about some information that was sent out, and someone in the news media was given the information by accident. And I don't believe that was an accident. I believe that was done on purpose, and the information that individual got did not have anything that was going to be harmful to those that it involved. However, they had suspected an individual for being a traitor, if you want to say, or someone that was being paid off to do things like that. And so, number one, they found out who that person was. Number two, it's also giving them an opportunity to talk to the entire world about, this is what happened. It was an accident. We take responsibility. We're looking in for it. And that is not something that has taken place, at least in the United States, before. Maybe other countries have a different format, but my sense is that on Earth, with the way that the negative energies have been in charge of everything, nobody would take responsibility. They would all just either cover it up, not say anything, or make a totally lying excuse. And so this is another reason why it's important to see this and honor this as, here's yet another example of how this is changing the energy and of how this is working. Okay, well, I think that's everything then that I'm going to talk about. Now, if you have questions about what I've been saying, feel free to ask the questions, or I'll answer the ones that were sent in. When will magnetic battery-powered cars be available to the consumers to purchase? Also, when will free energy that use the magnetics be available to the public? So there are different types of energy that is going to be coming about for humanity. Some of it is going to be with magnetics. Other of it is going to be hydrogen. Other of it is going to be just using the energy of the earth. So that is one of the predominant ways in which people are talking about energy, but that's not the only way. And so when I'm looking at that question and saying, when are, whether you call them electric cars, because it feels like they're not going to be electric cars at that point. They're going to be magnetic cars. And so people are going to talk about it differently. That, to me, feels like it's not coming about for at least 4 to 5 years. You will have power. The power is changing. And this is what Brysentia will talk more about when she talks about the pyramids and everything. So your power source is changing long before that time, probably within 6 months to a year, as early as 6 months to a year. However, for the standard car and easily purchased by humanity, that feels like it's still about 4 or 5 years down the road instead of something imminent. There's a laundry list of things that need to take place, is there not? And there are so many different things that are happening all at the same time. So as those things that are most crucial get taken care of immediately, and then you step down to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, that's when you start hearing about the universal beings. That's when you start hearing about the fact that history was changed. That's when you start hearing about these many other different things that we have talked about over the years and others have talked about too. So that's why when it comes to this type of a car, you're similar to it with the electric cars that you do have. But what those are going to look like is going to be very different even than the electric cars you have right now. So there will be a lot of changes coming about. And will they be magnetic or will they be high? It feels like you're going to have a variety of options that you can choose. Magnetic cars are definitely going to be an important aspect. But it doesn't feel like it's going to be the only one. It feels like there's going to be hydrogen. I mean, look at your planet. When you look at it, especially, it is mostly water. So when you take that water, and I mean, you're certainly not going to drain things. You're certainly not going to misuse it or anything like that. But what you're going to find out is that it's the using hydrogen with crystals that takes it from something that you may be envisioning. It takes a whole lake, you know, to do 100,000 people or something like that. It takes a minuscule amount and then it gets amplified by the crystal. And then from there on, you know, then you just recharge the crystal from time to time. But even these crystals and this energy that's associated with it is very, very, very long lasting. What is it right now? You go, what, 300 miles and then you have to recharge. With this, you'll recharge like every year or 2 years, and it will always be available, because when it is resting or when it's just a part of the earth, or it's you know, these crystals that are in there, it's, I don't know, I'm getting sidetracked. Long story short, you will get many different new types of energy. And when this energy comes out, it will be free. But just think of all the companies now that are going to be going out of business, or they think, oh, well, I'm going to go out of business if you're giving it away for free. But we're not giving the same thing away for free. It's going to be different. So many of them may convert over to work with these other new companies so that they have so that they still have jobs or they still have stuff to do. Okay, little bit of a rant on that, but I'm back. What's going on with the fires in North and South Carolina again? Okay. So that's leading me to look at also the storms that they had a few weeks ago, where they felt like they were HARP manipulated. The storms that they had, you could see it going in the middle of the country, down to the south part of the country and across. It's like it made a big wave. It's like it started up in North Dakota, something like that, and then went down through the center, came down through the bottom, and it looked like a big open face sea. So let's look at that, and let's look at these fire. Did you say it was fires? I forgot. Fires. Okay. Okay. So what you call HARP is something that is actually all over the planet. It has many different outposts. So often at the very beginning, people said it was only in Alaska and it was only in some other very rural type place. But now there are places where it's all over the place. It didn't start in North Dakota. It started in Minnesota, and it came down from them because Minnesota still has a lot of the nefarious ones. So the big question here is, what's up with the nefarious ones? Why aren't they gone completely? And why are they still pulling their shenanigans? And because we keep looking at them and feeling like, okay, they're done. They're done. So where are they getting the money, and how are they doing this? That to me is the question, because both of these things, I'm feeling the negative energy of the nefarious ones. And I'm just trying to figure out, well, how are they doing this? So let me look and see. There is a great deal that was funded multiple years in advance. And some of this feels like it's things that were set up long before the downfall. And it's been set up and is being followed through on computers. And there's not a whole lot of humanity that's looking at it. That being said, there are still some humans. What do we call them? The minions. Those people that worked for the others that were the true nefarious ones. And these guys are not good by any means, but some of them don't have the abilities to really do these big changes that need to take place. So every time that something like this happens, it's allowing those that are what you would call the white hats, or those that are there saving and changing things. This is what's allowing them to be able to go in and make the changes and find out who's doing this and who's perpetuating this, and then bring it down or shut it down or bring it to a close. North and South Carolina. There feels like a bit of a manipulation there. We also know that they had a big fire go through there. They had Hurricane Helene, and now they have fires again. There are certain things that are inside the mountains that are pertaining to the nefarious ones, and then there's also some important portals, you might say, in kind of that border, North Carolina, and then South Carolina is more easterly. But this is where we feel like if you go north of Asheville, that's where it feels to us as if, or feels to me as if there was a lot of shenanigans going on. And even though a great deal of it got cleaned out, which is, sorry, not trying to be arrogant here, but it's like it just came to me that some people are trying to reinstate what was taken out. And we're like, really? You really think you can reinstate that? And but these people are fanatics. They're not people that are connected to the energy. They don't perceive highlight vibrational energy. They are all very much, many of them might still be mind controlled, because again, that was set up long before all of this came down. And so they're still in that pattern of being manipulated. So looking at North and South Carolina and the fires, it does feel like there's something behind it. And it feels like it was started by these nefarious ones that we keep picking up on, that wanted to reinstate the negative things again. However, it feels like it could have been worse than it was. And maybe there's some heart manipulation that brought in rain, or heart manipulation that brought in things that kept the fires from being as bad as they could have been. So that's my take on it. And it's interesting because I don't have a super alarming feeling of it, because it feels like it was done like this for a reason, and that this is also going to be part of the disclosure for why things have gone the way they have. And it's going to be for opening up about what was happening back during Hurricane Helene and what is happening now. So it feels like it's linked to disclosure. It feels like it could have been way worse than what it was. But it does feel like there is a certain amount of manipulation that was also involved in it. I wish I could have gotten to that last sentence at the very beginning, but as I'm looking at the energy and reading things, there's so much to read and there's so much to take in. So I just want to be as thorough as I can. Okay. Anything else? Do you suggest any new small business to start up for future growth? I was thinking of herbs and vegetable gardening and hydroponics and any other future suggestions. I think these are fabulous. Anything that the hydroponics are always very good, and that's something new, and you're not dealing with soil that has not yet been cleansed. The soil will be cleansed in a very rapid manner, and we've talked about this multiple different times. All it takes is these beings that come down and boom, they put a staff into it, and then radiating out from that with the vibration will cleanse the land. And it's not, we don't see that happening everywhere, but we see it happening in a lot of places. So what this individual is talking about, we see it has a lot of great energy around it. We think she'll be successful, and we think it's a great idea. All of you that are interested in herbs and supplements and healthy eating and healthy food, there's going to be a massive need for all of that. So if you are considering starting up a business, then go ahead and get started with it, because it's going to be well received. and there are going to be many, many, many people that are looking for that. It even feels like this individual that was asking about that. It even feels like she may set up a protocol or set something up, and then other people may either buy it from her or partner with her, and they'll set it up in different places using her protocol. So there are people that already have that, and but it feels like it's going to expand and become even more. Excellent. That's really exciting. Okay, anything else? All right. So give me a second here. And I'm just going to, wow, really, really fast tonight. Perhaps there aren't as many questions, and perhaps it's the energy, not quite sure. But I'll just go ahead and turn this over to Brysentia because I know she has a lot to share. Thank you for being here, for being a part of this with me. And know that I am ever with you, Aunt Saluia. Greetings. It is I, Brysentia. I'm always so happy to come into this space. I'm always so happy to spend this time with you because this is just an amazing, amazing time. You know that I am of the earth. You know that I am, well, the Pleiades themselves are similar to the earth. There's a very similar frequency between the earth and the Pleiades. The Pleiades, as I've said before, is a series of different planets, and they consider all the planets as Pleiades, whereas Earth is just this one Earth. There are some people that consider another Earth that's frequently close by as being the new Earth or the ascended Earth, but there's been a merging together of these two Earths over the last several, maybe 100 to 200 years, and it's going to be even more so in the future. So Earth in and of itself is most likely just the one planet. Now, on the Pleiades, there are some that are hugely high vibrational, expanded energies, and those are the ones that are interacting with the solar system and the universe. They have their job doing that. Where I come from are two islands or two planets that are separate from that are very, very similar to the Earth plane. And when people come from other parts of the universe or another universe even, they may come to Pleiades because there's that open conscious alignment between those that are working with the universe and those on these two planets. And then they become accustomed. Some it's accustomed to gravitational pull, some it's accustomed to duality, some it's accustomed to that free will thinking. So many people come from another place in which there is no like the collective consciousness is so consistent that people don't really think outside of that because they are all of that. And we're not saying that like a mind control negative thing such as what you've experienced here on Earth. We're saying that as something that is a choice that people make to be in that alignment and attunement with one another. So then when they come in and they spend time on one of our planets and they realize, wait a second, I'm trying to connect to you, or wait a second, I'm trying to be part of the collective energy, and they realize that it's not the same, that is that's something that they have to learn and practice before they come into the Earth. Okay, so let's talk pyramids. Pyramids have been a part of the Earth from the time that any form higher than single cell organisms came into the planet. There were a very few indigenous people that were created from the planet, from Gaia, and that became a part of the peoples that were living on the Earth. The vast majority came from other planets that were out in the universe, some even from the omniverse, and they came in, and Lemuria was that time of mixing and mingling with everything as we created the DNA and the consciousness of that which is going to be humanity on the Earth. So as the last few years, if people have worked on DNA, and as you've heard about people manipulating DNA, this is another question that I've heard people speak about, saying, well, isn't that what you did in Lemuria? Wasn't that playing with things, and wasn't that creating stuff, and wasn't that actually a bad thing? So here's where intention becomes a big part of it. What we were doing there, everyone was fully conscious of what was going on. Everybody that participated were fully conscious of what they were doing, what they were experiencing, what they were bringing to the plate, and therefore everything that happened was shared with everybody. So that's a hugely different thing than when you talk about someone that comes in from another planet and they see the planet, and the people that are there don't know what's going on, or they don't understand it. So as happened after Lemuria, when some of these nefarious ones came in. So we, during that time, but they were already here in many other places. A pyramid is a triangle, multiple triangles. And as you know, in quantum physics, the triangle is the strongest of all the geometric shapes that there is. So that is why they frequently used pyramids as a means of centering or holding or directing energy that was coming into the earth plane. If you go on many, many, many different parts of the planets, you'll see these pyramids. And I don't think a single one of them was made by those that were already here. I think every single one of them were created by non-terrestrials that came from out within the universe. Sometimes these non-terrestrials were Pleiadian, sometimes Arcturian, sometimes Andromedan. So there were many different species that did this, but they all had a similar type of structure because they all knew this is something that would last the test of time. This is something that amplified energy and sends it out. And so these are just a couple of the reasons why they use the shape of the pyramid. Inside the planet, there are many, many different conduits for which energy gets shifted from one to the other. You can look at the ancient trees, and the roots of those trees have a way of sending consciousness and sending messages to other parts of the planet. So if trees can do it, what happens if somebody with advanced consciousness comes in and puts another means of communicating with other people into the earth, just as those tree roots were in the earth? That is one of the theories that some people went with when they were trying to figure out how can we communicate from one part of the earth to the other part of the earth. At that point, telepathy was very, very, very accustomed. I mean, it was very commonly used, and everybody could use telepathy easily, and it was very concise and very thorough, thorough understanding, I should say, from one to the other. So let's talk about these different times in history. What you see in South America and Central America was a different time frame than what you see in Gaza and Egypt, and then a different time frame than what you might see in Russia and China. So different parts of the planet have triangles, have pyramids that were utilized there at different points in history. What did I want to say about that? I was thinking, because like when I'm connecting with these in South America, Machu Picchu, as you know, is a very, very, very powerful point, and it was for many hundreds of years. And there were pyramids that were underneath the mountain, that were inside of that mountain. And so the question that people have is, how did these pyramids get there? There were portals that were put in, and they went inside the earth, and they built it up inside the earth, from inside the earth. Others, they were known to be on top of the earth, but at the time they were built, there was much more earth, so they were actually bigger than what they looked at. And then over time, as things come, as the eons would pass by, then more and more land and soil and dirt covered it up, so that what you are seeing is not the full pyramid as it was at the time that they were put in there. So all of these were created by off-planet beings. And we remember, we saw the movies, just as all of you did, that showed the slaves, huffing it up, and, people whipping them and all that stuff. No, that was, again, a story that was created because it went along with the control and manipulation, and it went along with the belief system that there's a ruling class and there's a slave class, and that you have to be one or the other. And of course, everyone wanted to be the ruling class, but you can't be a ruling class if you don't have a slave class. So, so that's why it was put out like that, and that's why so much of humanity want to believe that that's what happened, because that's what they were taught. Okay, now when these other beings would come from these other planets and they would create this, much of it was vibrated into being. There were rocks that were already present in wherever these were created. And if you think about that, if you're digging a hole, you have to take stuff out in order to have a hole, and then that what they excavated out from the hole is what they then turned into the blocks or the materials that they then filled up that hole as they were building the pyramid. Some of these, they showed spirals or cylinders that went down deep into the earth, and that was what was part of the power grid. And indeed, that is present, not in every place. So this is where things are a little bit different, one place to the other, because it was which was the species from out in the universe that built this one. Even though they could all interconnect to one another and communicate with one another and do similar things. So, okay, that's a good question. The Pleiades were most involved with South America. You know, that one. That's why I kept being pulled to that and talking about that, because a lot of that was created during Lemuria and towards the end of Lemuria, because that's also anchoring under to Antarctica. So what this one in Gaza, who was it that created that one? Feels like Andromedan were the ones that created that one. And then we know Arcturus also created one, and it feels like that's more like Russia, China, somewhere out in that realm. So each of these civilizations that came in and created these structures did so with the technique that they wanted to use to instill the type of energy that they wanted to use. And that's why you'll see differences from one to the other. South Africa. There is something big in South Africa also that is associated with, that one feels a little different to us. That one feels more like, who are those people? This is the one that Elena Danaan works with so much. And not who are those? And not Andromedan. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm getting distracted trying to think of that name. Maybe one of you can think of it and put it in there. So when each one of these cultures were creating this, they were creating it from the dirt that was right there that they excavated, but they mixed with it other elements that came from their home planet, because it was a means of anchoring their home planet into the earth plane. So whatever it was that they mixed with it, they mixed it into what you perceive as the blocks, and then things got levitated there. When you're able to work with energy like that, not Aborigines. No, that's not the one we're thinking of. Anunnaki. That's it. Thank you very much. The South Africa has a lot of Anunnaki energy in it. Anyway, where I was going with this is that each one of these specific planets from out in the universe that would create the pyramids that were connected to them, they were the ones that would instill their own energy, and then that became a portal for them. Like they could then say, okay, program it in, I want to go to my pyramid, and boom, that would bring them right back to it, because they had created it and it was there for them. The other thing I do want to share with you is that back in that time space reality, there was a time when the people on Earth were way, way bigger. When you look at a lot of those places in Europe and in some of that parts of the world where you see those magnificent, huge doorways, well, it was because there were giants. The giants were not every single person, but their giants were very consistently there. And the giants were brought in by some of these cultures or communities to be the protectors of the pyramids, or the protectors of whatever it is that was the space energy that was brought into that. Now, this is where it becomes very different, because some of these beings would bring their giants in to be controlling and manipulative and hurtful, would hurt other people. And then there were other giants that were brought in that were there to be the protectors, and they created a liaison with the people that were living there, and they co-created or cohabitated in peace, love for centuries, literally centuries. But again, this is all the different things that, as we speak about this, I'm pulling out little pieces of history, and that was the predominant energy of it. And then you go to other place of history, and in that pinpoint of time, they had a different reality and a different consciousness. So when you stop to think, and this is where you have to just really expand your consciousness, that we're talking thousands and thousands, if not a million or more years, that this has all been going on. And now you're trying to take all those different pieces and put it together as a puzzle. So the main thing to know is that the pyramids have different things underneath them, but the pyramids are built upon the grid work that created the energy for those that were living at that time. The pyramids were also created with matter that came from the universe, from the particular planet that the individuals came from, and the material that was there in that place. So that's why you're going to hear that there is some differences, but you're starting to see now how everyone is showing those pictures where you see the bit of the pyramid here, and then look at what's underneath it. I don't know if they will ever excavate it to get all of that out. I'm not sure if they're planning to excavate it and start using it as a power source again. My sense is that, yes, it was a very effective power source for that time, but so much has happened since that time. The energy is different. The frequency is different. So I'm not 100% sure that it can ever be reactivated to be reused again. But they may take new energy or things that are associated with the current time, space, reality, and consciousness, and then utilize that in there. Mostly those tubes were ways of generating and amplifying, and sometimes it was for storage, and sometimes it was just simply to amplify and expand. Oh, okay. Yeah, someone was just saying that they remembered hearing a long, long time ago that the Sphinx actually held the history of humanity. And the Sphinx is more of a library type place, but it's not the only place. There are libraries all over the planet. We've talked about that before, and how especially up in the high Himalayan mountains, and where they used to have the Atlanteans that lived there, and the Atlantean text and the Atlantean journals and stuff like that are kept in some of these caves. And that Alexandrian library was another place that a lot of this was done. So when people are asking, what do all these various things mean? What they were used for at one time may be different than what you guys are going to use them for. The information that they stored inside of them, some of it you may not ever comprehend or even see. It's like I could be holding these two books out here that I'm showing to you, and this is of a vibrational frequency that you understand, so you see it. This one is of a different vibration and frequency, so even though I'm saying, hey, I got two books here, you'll say, you don't have anything in this hand. You're just playing a game with me. No, we do have a book there. It's just of a different vibration. So this is why when people try to go and find these caves or find these places, they think they're empty, or they don't think anything is there. In addition to that, everything is protected. They are protected by energy. They're protected by beings. And even Gaia herself has been known to shut down a cave if someone was getting close to finding it and she didn't want it found. And then she might open it back up again. So the true history of the planet is there in various places all around the planet. And those people that will be able to read and discern it will know where to go and what to do to be able to bring that back. There will be many, many, many that they will speak about it through that will also bring it forth for humanity. So I guess one of my biggest takeaway from this is there is so much information that's going to be coming out. And because some of it is done right now through like remote viewing, through channeling, through using radar and different things like that, it's still something very, very, very new. So there may be some correctness about it and some incorrectness about it, but the foundation is there. and just be aware that there's going to be more and more that comes out. What an exciting time. This is why Albayon was like, oh, it's so fun to be here. It's so fun to enjoy this and explore this. So anyway, I'm thrilled to be able to talk about this. Okay, I just heard that. Someone was just asking me, have I been in these places when they were there? Yes, I have, in the vast majority, in particular, South America and Central America. There was a series of pyramids that would go from down at Machu Picchu that would go, like if you're going up through the country, all the way up through North America. And these pyramids were used as a means of communication from one to the other to the other. And they would also use that energy that they would pull from nature, that they would pull from the earth. And many people would teleport from one place to the next. This was also done in other parts of the world. But that's the one that I was most accustomed to. But I did go to Giza. I did go to some of these other pyramids at the time that they were in use, because I have been a part of history. I have been a part of the cultural changes on the planet Earth throughout the time that Earth has been in this place. I made the commitment back during Lemuria. And so I may take times or chunks of time, as you call it, and be back on the Pleiades and take like a break from this. But I have spent a great deal of time in the different history periods, as you call them, so that I could help people out that needed it at the time, so that I would learn from them, and so that I could then convey whatever information needed to go back to the Pleiades or the councils or the different places where people are working together. Whew, that was a lot of information, was it not? Okay, I'm good. So if you'd like, let's go ahead and answer some questions. Is yoga bad? A Catholic friend said it is. Trying to figure out in what way, shape, or form they could say yoga is bad. The answer is no, it's not. But I'm going to take that as a stepping stone. If people want to do yoga, if they want to do Pilates, if they want to do cardio, if they want to run, if they want to walk, if they want to do anything at all that allows them to get in touch with themselves, to strengthen their bodies, to strengthen that alignment within them, meditation. I just picked up that this Catholic friend of hers said that yoga was bad because the part of yoga that has to do with meditation and getting connected to your soul and getting connected to your higher self. So yoga frequently is about the stretches, the movement, all of that, but it's also about that portion of it that's meditation, which is allowing you to connect more fully to your higher self and to your soul. And some Catholics were taught, there's only this lifetime, there's only you, the priests have all the power, the nuns have all the power, and therefore they would be against people and humanity having the realization and becoming empowered by knowing this information. So that's my take on that. I think it was someone that was just coming from a place of fear, or a very, very, very old doctrine, or a very narrow-minded doctrine, because there is nothing in it that's bad unless you're doing too much and you hurt yourself physically because you did too much. But no, the practice of yoga in and of itself, there's nothing negative in it that I can see. Anything else? Here we go. I woke up this morning feeling like I had attended a huge assembly last night. My dream in my dream time where everybody was there. Can you tell us if there's something going on? That's a great question, because absolutely there's a lot going on. And when people are asleep, when your conscious mind, relaxes and goes to sleep, that's what allows your unconscious mind to move on up into your higher self, into your soul, and connect at these intergalactic assemblies, if you want to call them that. So many, many, many of you are very busy during your dream state. And if you had a sense that you were at an assembly and that there were a lot of things discussed, I'd say 100% you're correct. because it happens to a lot of people all the time. Sometimes you don't even need to know about it, and it's all stuff that you're doing through your higher self and through your unconsciousness. But what is important for you to understand when you have dreams or even a lack of dreams is that there are almost every single day, there are light codes that are being sent in. There are nasal flares, solar flares that are coming down into the earth, because you are still in a process of breaking up or breaking down the old paradigms and the old energy. But in order to do that, you have to have the new here saying, because you cannot have just an open space of nothingness. There has to be energy that's filling it up. So if you think about it, and you take that, you have dry earth, and you take that what is that called, that big hammer, and you hit the earth, and all those cracks and crevices go out, and then you hit it again, and now you've got a hole there. Well, you cannot just leave that hole open in all of these places where you've been breaking down the old paradigms, the old thought forms, the old realities. It has to be replaced with new energy. And so everybody on the planet is receiving downloads of these new codes, and that's what is shifting your DNA. And as that's shifting your DNA, it helps people to become more conscious. It helps them to go from the unconscious into the conscious, and it helps them to look around and realize, hey, maybe I need to question some of these things that I just took for granted. And that is the first step to humanity awakening. The next step is that when they question things, they begin to see, oh my goodness, what I believe to be truth is not necessarily the truth. So what can I do to learn more about this? That's humanity's natural inclination. So when that happens, then all of this energy that's been downloaded to people at night, or with the alignment of these planets, or with the solar flares, or with all of these different things that are taking place, that's when what's been sitting dormant, no, that's not right. What's been sitting in someone's unconsciousness then shifts to the forefront, and they are now conscious of it. So that's what's happening to people. So now let's jump around here to all of you. If you're watching this at this point in time, chances are you're already awake. You're already well aware of everything that's been going on. And therefore, everything that's been downloaded into your unconsciousness that's now coming forward into your consciousness, you feel it. You know it's happening. So you think, oh my goodness, I think I was at an assembly last night. Yep, you sure were. And so people that start looking at the world and seeing colors that they didn't see, or maybe they see auras when they didn't see auras before, or maybe they have a sense of compassion for things that they didn't recognize before. These are all different ways that people are awakening and people are understanding the changes that are going on. So you have to keep receiving these downloads of energy. And not only are they going into each one of you individually into that unconsciousness, there is a massive, massive energy that's, well, you call it your collective consciousness. And that's where in the past it's been filled with the negativity and the mind control, and all of that is gone now. So the collective consciousness, as we look at it, is now filled. I mean, maybe 1%, 2% is still with low vibrational energies, but it's never as low as what it used to be, because they cannot go. You've gone over that point where they can go back to that really low vibrational frequency. It's just not going to happen. So as people are starting to look at things, whether it's through talking to another individual, or reading something on here, or going into meditation, or just saying, hey, something feels a little different, I wonder what it is, then that's all being supported by the collective consciousness. So this is where Crystallia always likes to talk about, well, let's fill that collective consciousness with energies of love and compassion and cooperation. And 100% agree, because that's what's there. Then when someone says, help me, I'm changing, something's different, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go, and they first open up and they say, help me, that's the energy that's going to be there and available to them. So the more that you work with that energy of the collective, the more that you integrate it into your own self, the easier it's going to be for other people to do the same. So whether you think you are or not, anyone that's here at this time, you're a light worker. You've chosen to be a part of this process, to be one of the people that holds that vibration and frequency and then sends it out to others. It's not something you necessarily need to talk about every day, but you know in your heart of hearts that that's why you're here, and that's why you understand what's been going on and what's happening now. So great question. Thank you for asking it. All right, let's see. What is this thing about the spirals in the skies? Albayon already talked about it. They seem to be more and more frequent, unless it's different than the one Albayon talked about. Are there other spirals in the sky? Let me look and see what there is. So when you consider a spiral, I'm a little bit off track here, so excuse me for that. But when you think of a spiral where you're going around and around and around and around, and it's like three-dimensional, you can see that depth of it as well as the height and the width and the depth. You have a perception of something's here. And when we're talking about your life experiences, everything's in the now moment. But that now moment, where is it on that spiral of life? Where is it on that spiral of your consciousness? And then if you take something that has depth like that and you squish it down, or you look at it from just one perception, it looks like it's something flat, and it looks like it's something, you don't really have a sense of what it is with your vision, with your eyes. So then when you see something, you have to say, okay, what is that out there? What am I looking at here? Is this something that I need to know? Most of the time, what's happening right now is that there are many, many holograms that are being put into the sky or into different people's consciousness, because what it's doing is it's triggering a sense of the spiral of life, the spiral of time, the spiral, that type of an energy. Some people are asking, are these portals? And quite frankly, the portals as they are right now are not that easy to see, and they're not that easy to step into. But what it's doing is it's training people's consciousness to become aware of what does a spiral mean. And like you think of the spiral of time, and what is that thing called? A labyrinth, with that walking into the center and then walking back out to the outside is a way of undoing the energy and bringing in new. Or some people go into it and they gather together everything that's going on, and then they release it as they come out. So I'm feeling a connection between like people that follow a labyrinth, people that look at portals, people that look at these holograms. There's some sort of a connection between all of it. And what still feels as if it's a hologram to me is really more so to help people awaken and help them start questioning and asking. I just do not have that sense that these are all massive numbers of little portals out in the sky. I do want to share that some of, like when you look at some of the symbols that represent the nefarious ones, they've taken things that are very powerful spiritually and contorted them and changed them into something else, so that there are sometimes people that see the negative things and think it's that positive that it so there's a little bit of an overlay like that. And this is how they did things. They took stuff that was powerful and innocent and then contorted it. And the way they contorted it, they actually disconnected from that positive, happy energy and created it into their negative energy. But just be aware that when you're looking at these things, is it the nefarious ones? Is it the high vibrational energies? Question number one. And then question number two is this a hologram? And am I receiving a download from it? Like, for example, as I'm saying this, Shelley can feel the download just like coming right in her head as we're talking about this. So maybe some of you can feel it at the same time too. But that's been the purpose of some of those. There is so much that's happening right now. And a lot of it has a specific distinctive reason for it to happen in the way that it does, but a lot of it also just represents things that as yet have come to fruition. Whew, how about that? Anybody else? In history, I have hundreds of years of love and light and also hundreds of years of darkness. We are currently leaving the darkness to be back into the love and light. Will the nefarious ever be able to come back? No. No. This is what Albayon was saying at the very beginning of this channel tonight, that this is one of the reasons why this time space reality is different. In other ascension process in that the earth has gone through, there's always been some of that nefarious that was very deep within the planet, and it stayed there, and it would come back out and recreate things over and over again. It did it at least 6 times, if not 7. And now what we've done is, meaning we, the universal beings, we, humanity, we, those of you that are the ascended beings that are on the planet, have all shown us where these were, and they've all been removed. So the dark cannot come back to the planet this time, because as the planet is ascending into the high light frequency, it's now going to be incompatible with the dark frequency, because there's nothing left that it can leave take its niche there to say, I'm going to come back again. Nothing is left. So therefore, something cannot come from an outside source and try to take up home, you could say, or create the darkness here again. This has been done in a very strategic manner to make sure that that does not happen again. And that's, again, why we keep saying this is such a special time. This is such a different time. This is what you are creating, and this is where it's all going to go. Whew. All right. Well, then it feels like that must be done for me, and I'll just let Crystallia come in and talk. But thank you, my family and friends. It is so important that we get together at these times, because this community of people creates energy that then gets emanated out from every one of you. And as you talk to your friends and family, as they talk to their friends and family, it's like everything goes out in different bits and pieces of energy. It's all interconnected. It's all of love and light. It's all a part of not only what's happening now, but I mean, the foundation is set, but this next step in creating this new earth, or this new consciousness on earth. So thank you very much, and I am ever with you on Saluia. Greetings. It is I, Crystallia. I thank you for this opportunity, as always, to come in and speak with you. I have to say that this time in particular, the light energy is way different than what it has been before. I think part of the reason for this is you just got done with the equinox. Have you ever noticed, my perception, of course, I'm not from here. I haven't been around here for the eons like others have. I've only been here a few years, but it's almost like the solstice in December and June. That's coming in and breaking everything down and tearing everything up and getting rid of the old. And then you come to these in-between months, March and September, and it's like, okay, we did all that. Now we're going to find some smooth balance. Now we're going to live in the balance. Now we're going to live in some would call it the integration phase. So even as you're breaking down, you're integrating. But now there are going to be changes that continue to take place, but a lot of you will probably not be feeling that big, heavy breaking down energy that has been so hard for everyone the past 3 months. And I can feel it as I'm here now. I feel a greater smoothness to the energy. I feel a greater balance in humanity. And I honestly believe that so many that have before now been, what's the word, asleep, as you call it, are now awakened. The percentages are just so very high. And it makes me laugh because they don't call it, oh, I'm now awake. but I can see it in their energy. Here's how people, and you might have a similar way of noticing it. When you get someone that has not yet awakened, their energy has like a shell around them, and they stay inside their secure place. They don't want to connect with other people. They don't want to go out. They don't want to, because they have to stay here inside this place because it's based on fear. They're afraid of change. They're afraid of something new. They're afraid of the energy. They're afraid of these strange, wacko people that are doing all these different things. So their energy is always like it's inside of a shell, and like they're curled up saying, hey, leave me alone. So now, as I come and I connect to everyone, of course, this room is always filled with light. But as I send my energy around to different places in the planet, now people are open. It's like the shoulders are back. It's like they're looking around and they're saying, hey, something's going on here. I don't know what it is, but something's going on. And that's just a beautiful, beautiful thing to be a part of. As everyone continues to open up as they are, you probably are going to start hearing people talk about meditation. They may call it prayer. They may call it time of relaxation. They may give it whatever name they have, because I have discovered that spoken words have meaning. And what I mean by that is they're not the meaning that the word is associated with. There's another meaning behind it. And so when you talk about meditation, just like that individual that says, oh, yoga, that's bad for you. You don't want to do that. They may think, oh, meditation, that's bad for you. So I would love to see humanity start to talk about the importance of your soul, the importance of your higher self, the importance of understanding your intuition, because intuition is like that first step that's going to take you from the unconscious into the conscious. Your intuition is coming down into you from your higher self, from your soul, from where you're gathering all this conscious energy and bringing it into your human self. So pay attention to your intuition and pay attention to everything that comes to you from that. So many people are saying, yeah, I want change, but it's not happening. Well, listen to your intuition, because change means you do something different. Change means you go a direction you have not gone before. Change means you talk to people that you haven't talked to before. And that's what brings in something new. And that's what brings in the ability to just experience life in a different way. Okay, love. Let's talk about love, my favorite subject. With the alignment of the planets as they are, and I know that this individual says, oh yeah, you're going retrograde. So retrograde is really, really going to be more telling now than it usually was. For someone that's just been on the cusp or has been really struggling with something, this retrograde is going to really push them and cause them to, I mean this one. I don't mean every retrograde. Every retrograde has the potential to do that. But for those of you that have already been making these changes, when you are in a retrograde energy, that's also a wonderful time to try something new, to do something different. I know. So many of you are going to say, no, you don't do stuff like that in retrograde. But consider this. If the retrograde energy is like saying, whoa, slow down, stop, rethink things, everything's chaotic, everything's being broken down. If you've already done that when it wasn't retrograde, then the shift and the change in the energy that comes with being retrograde, that slowing down of things, is a wonderful time to consider something new and different. And it is your own personal preference if you actually do it then, or if you just maybe work through it during that time. And then when it's non-retrograde, you start. Totally up to you, whatever you want to do. But I can say that this universe is really becoming a beautiful, beautiful place. The changes in the other planets are massive, which in turn is sending the energy of light frequency and love frequency out into the collective consciousness of the universe. And then all of that is what they're pulling from, that they're now sending down into all of you that are here on the earth plane. And so when people talk about what do they call it? Light energy or signature cell energy, or, they've got lots of different words that they talk about what is happening to individuals. Well, the bottom line is love. It is always love. When you consider everything that's happening to you is coming from a place of love, that is a place of creation. That is a place of connecting with one another. And so if you're receiving light codes and those light codes are activating love inside of you, you're going to feel it first and foremost for yourself. And I ask all of you to just receive it and embrace it. And then you start looking out at everybody else and you look at them through those eyes that you are now looking at with yourself. One of my biggest heartbreaks of this planet has been the way that they manipulated the lack of self-love, because it's just intrinsic. It's just, how could you even consider anything else in just about every other place in the universe, and especially from the omniverse? So for what seems like something new to many of you, I'm asking you to just go with that potential that it's actually intrinsically the foundation for everything, because love is the builder. And if you choose to get caught up into all the negative stuff, fear, anger, frustration, whatever it may be, those things that are pulling you further and further away from love, know that love always is there for you. Love always loves you. Love, your soul through love is always going to show you opportunities or ways that you can grow. Whew, I just feel such excitement as I'm looking out at this planet at this time. And I can see how the aura of Gaia has grown and expanded. It's just amazing to see and consider. All right, does anyone have a question for me? Not today. Well, let's people have always said that they like and Alexander, if you'll write down the time. People have always said that they like 126, that they like to have a little meditation or a little intention. So let's do that right now. If you'll close your eyes and if you let your focus go into your heart, connect first and foremost within yourself, knowing that you have your heart, you have the energy of your heart center, and that's connecting you to your emotions, your thoughts, your physicality, to everything. And then as you do that, I ask you to receive as if you are standing under a golden light. This light is coming from your higher self. This light is coming from your soul. And this light is just showering you with love. And as you receive that inside of you, many of you can feel your energy expanding outward, or you can feel your energy moving into a much more expanded state. So within this vibration and energy of love, I invite you to have an intention of connecting to your unconsciousness. And as you link to your unconscious, for many of you, it may be like you're looking at this vast open area, and maybe it's empty. Maybe you see little balls of energy or whatever. But shine that golden light of love into your unconsciousness. And as you do so, you can feel your own energy expanding yet again. And then you just feel all of that around you. And as you're shining this golden light into your unconsciousness, put the intention that whatever's ready to move forward into the consciousness, that it moves with ease and it helps you in your everyday life. And you get those answers that you are seeking in your everyday life. And you get that strength that you are seeking in your everyday life. Whew, take a deep breath in and breathe out. Through this alignment to love, you're connecting with your own soul. So just move up through that column if you so choose, and then look around and know that as your soul, you're connected to many, many, many other souls. There's an aspect of your soul that's from the cosmos. Let that become front and center within you. And as you are connecting with this aspect of your cosmic self, you're going to suddenly receive some of those light codes that are coming into you in another way. And so if you need to make a change in your physicality, in your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, ask to have whatever it is that you need to connect with you right now, and then let it flow down through that golden light. Let it come maybe from your unconsciousness into your consciousness, and let it be a part of you so that you will know intrinsically what is best for yourself. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. So that's just giving you a few little tools that you can use. Plus, I also amplified all that love vibration and frequency so that it could come into each one of you. And now you have access to it too. Someone asked what to do for the physical challenges. When you have physical challenges, it's very hard not to be a part of that. But if you can disconnect yourself to a certain degree, let this golden light help you. Focus in on where you're having that physical pain, and let it go to where that physical pain is, with the intention that it breaks down whatever's causing you pain. Pain is a blockage in your energy, and it all backs up and creates the pain. So see that golden light as going through that blocked energy, which you call pain, and then let that be a way of helping you to transition. Whew. So I hope that will help you. Let's see. You can see the golden light. Fabulous. So she sees it around her nostrils. So think of it that way, that when you take that breath in, you're breathing that golden light and the particles of energy, because the golden light vibrates at the love energy, and it vibrates at a high light frequency. This is another reason why they call it the golden age that is coming to Earth. It's the frequency of the Earth itself. It's that love frequency. It's the frequency of the universe and its alignments. It's the frequency of humanity. It's the frequency of consciousness. So it really has a piece in every single part of what it is to be on the earth and living your life at this time. All right. Well, then I'm going to bring this to a close. Thank you very much for being here. We all truly appreciate this opportunity to communicate with you. We're all available, and feel free to call on us whenever you so choose. Ansaluia. All right. This is Shelley, and that was the end of my channeling. Woo, some cool information tonight. I really enjoyed it. That was very, very cool. So I'm going to let y'all go. Again, I apologize that I did something to the email, that it didn't go out early like it was supposed to, but things happen, and I'll do my best again going forward. So we'll be together. We'll be back here Wednesday night in a couple of weeks, just like tonight. I do have the goddess meditation. Oops, no. This next Monday is a fifth Monday, so we're not going to have it then. April 7th will be the first Monday in April, and so we'll get together that night. And we'll see ya. Maybe Shelley will do another mini, maybe. I think she might go back. That's why she asked Alexandra to pay attention and take that little 2 or 3 minute clip of the meditation out and post that separately and that might be helpful to a lot of you. All right. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for being here. And I look forward to communicating with you again in the future. If this is your first time, like and subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye. Well, actually, I talk to more people consistently on Telegram, and you can always send me an email and I'll respond back. But thank you so much. Bye-bye.